Have you ever wondered where your thoughts live? Where do they go? And where do they come from? Welcome to Healing Perspectives Podcast with me, Certified Medical Intuitive Tracy Frederick. I can help you shift your perspective by changing the way you think so you can truly change the way you live. Each episode, I focus on real root causes of illness, the thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and spiritual disconnection that affect the human body. You will hear real-life stories of what gets stored in the body and how people have healed. Working alongside my healing guide, Tommy, from the non-physical realm, I explore why certain conditions show up, what they mean, and remind you of the power you have to heal yourself. This show is about medical intuition, healing the mind, body, and spirit by making the connection with clarity, compassion, and practical suggestions you can use in your everyday life. Let's get started.
Buddy, I'm Dr. Pat, and I get to take this beautiful ride of life with the most incredible Tracy Frederick. And by the way, let me talk a little bit about this episode and Tracy. So we're going to be talking about heart wisdom, transforming emotional energy into healing power. But I want to back up a second. The show name is Healing Perspectives. And here's what I want to say to all of you. Tracy, the depth and the breadth of what Tracy does extends beyond the body. We're going to integrate that into the show today. So how do I know that? Take it from somebody that lost her job after 25 years. And if you don't think I needed to have a different healing perspective on that, guess again. But it isn't just that. How about what y'all went through with your family? How about some of the divides? So I want to tell you about Coach Tracy in many ways during this episode. Although this is a powerful episode, and we just saw this featured, highlighted, demonstrated in the latest edition of the Dutton Ranch. But what I want to say is, empowerment coaching sessions, Tracy, it's very rare, at least from where I sit, 23 years, that you find someone that is beyond a medical intuitive. But that intuition is a guiding post for all aspects of your life. So if you're sitting and listening to this and you're thinking, I don't have a heart problem. Okay, first of all, I know that's probably not true. But if you're thinking, I don't have a heart problem, I want you to think about an area of your life where you're blocked, like an artery. Is this someplace in your life? Do you go into work and grit your teeth? Is this something in your relationship that you feel is just coming apart? Well, I'm telling you this now with this solstice we just had, and the full moon in Sagittarius said, get off your bum and get things done. Tracy, great episode. I'm so glad you took this on. And I don't know if you even saw that last episode of Dutton Ranch, but we could talk about that. Talk about heartbreak.
Welcome. I do not watch that show, but I'm going to start watching it. And I definitely want to talk about that because I think it's very important to play into what we're talking about, the heart, which is truly one of my favorite subjects. It's something that I am very much passionate about because, in my opinion, nothing bypasses the heart. Yeah. I truly believe that there's not a thought, a feeling, an emotion that we are going to have that is going to bypass the heart. It's my belief. I'm not trying to convince anybody of my beliefs, but my belief is a thought is going to come in, an emotion is going to come in, and the heart is going to decide what it's going to do with it. Is it going to stay in the body, or where is it going to go? And that's one of the things that I want to talk about today. Where do our thoughts and our feelings and our emotions go?
Yeah, and I want to share something vulnerable right now. You know, I've often thought, my last conversation with my mom, I often thought, if I knew then what I knew now, maybe my mom would still be alive. And this is Mama Doris. And my last conversation with her, I didn't see the signs. I didn't see what you're about to talk about today. And within a day, my mom drove into a gas station and her heart exploded. And the reason I'm sharing that is because things like that in my life have put me on a mission to understand. Now, I'm not the teacher, you're the coach. But whether you see that as a metaphor or you see that as if we knew what could we do better for ourselves and the people we love? So that's my 2 cents. Go get them now.
Well, you're right. I think, well, first of all, every 1 in 4 deaths is because of heart disease or some type of heart problem, heart issue. 1 in 4. So that says a lot right there. Everybody knows somebody that has either had a heart attack, a heart disease.
Yep.
They are having AFib. There's a lot of AFib going on in the world right now. There's all kinds of stuff going on with the heart. And I'm a true believer that, everything is energy. Every single thing is energy. So if everything is energy, then our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, they are energy and they are affecting all parts of our body, but they're exceptionally being experienced in the heart area. So, again, my favorite quote from Conversations with God is, "The soul conceives, the mind creates, and the body experiences." So I want to talk a little bit about how, everything is energy. If we go back to that scenario, everything is energy. Our thoughts, our beliefs, our feelings, they're all energy. And I believe that they come in, and then the heart says, well, where am I going to store this? Where am I going to store this? And this happens so fast. What happens is the mind is going to create a story. So the minute you see somebody, the mind is going to create the story. Then it's going to get assigned an emotion, and then the body's going to feel that emotion. And I believe the heart is feeling all of that, and then it decides where it's going to go from there. And yeah, so that's my belief. And, I just believe that if we don't want to feel it, then the body will store it. So you have to, and it's not about, this is very important. It's not about not having the feelings. It's about not hanging on to them. All feelings are meant to be expressed. The trouble we get into is when we can't let them go. So, your heart is only going to hang on to what you tell it to hang on to. It's the story that you're going to feed it that says, I need to keep on with this. I need to have this. I need to keep up with it. So where do these feelings and thoughts go? Well, I believe they come in, and then the heart decides where in the body it's going to go, and then it's going to go back out into your energetic field, which is the unseen field that's all around you. And I believe that that's where these thoughts, feelings, and emotions are stored until they're recalled again. And once that memory comes in, the body's going to start to experience it all over again. So a really good example of that would be, let's say that you have you see a child, a grandchild, a partner, a friend, whoever. And the moment you see them, you have a thought. And again, this is like I was saying, this is rapid fire. You have a thought, then you're going to have an emotion. Let's say you have the emotion of joy, and then the body's going to feel what that joy feels like. And it's all coming in through the heart, and the heart says, oh, that feels really, really good. I like that. Let's keep that here. But the memory is going to go back out into the field. Well, then let's say you say if it was your grandchild, and then, a day or two later, weeks, months, years later, doesn't matter, you see another little child, and it reminds you of your grandchild. And then just as the memory recall starts, and just in rapid fire, just like that, the mind is going to create the thought. The body, it's going to get signed that same emotion. Oh, this is joy. We felt this before. And the body says, oh, this feels really good. Let's feel it again. And that's how it goes on and on and on. Well, the body loves to feel those good feelings, the joy, the happiness, the peace, the calm. But, just like we feel that, the body is also going to feel whenever you have an emotion that's not so positive that comes in. So when you have a story that comes up, and the story might be, well, you know what happened to me when I was 15 years old? Yeah. And the body's already starting to feel it because it felt it at 15, and it's felt it every single time you've told the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so what happens is the body's also recalling that. The mind is going to keep telling that story, but the body's going to continue to feel it. and it's going to go through the heart. So that same story is going to go through the heart, and the heart says, well, where am I going to store it? Am I going to keep some of it in the body, or am I going to put it out somewhere else? And then the memory is going to go back out into the field, and you get triggered all over again.
Yeah. And I have to tell you, I want to give you something specific. I want people to get this. When
Okay.
I was 5, we were out in some kind of Jersey bungalow somewhere out here, and believe it or not, I was playing a little ping pong. However, here I was, and I turned to get the ball, and I went into a little brush, like I don't know, ground cover. I don't know what we call it, and I stepped into a yellow jacket's nest. I'm 5, and I ran home, and I mean, I had them all over me. Now, why am I sharing that? Because until I went on a vision quest to do what you're talking about and heal that, if I saw anything that even remotely looked like a yellow jacket, I just went off the rails. And I think that's part of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Now, I don't consider that a big thing. Do you imagine what happens when something devastating happens to us?
Well, first of all, you think it's not a big thing, but it is a big thing.
Yeah, you're right.
Because if
It is.
because it is, and so I want to address that for a second, because that's
Sure.
what the average person thinks. It's not a big deal.
Hmm.
Every time we say it's not a big deal, guess what? It really is a big deal. If your body can remember it, yeah, it's a big deal. If your body remembers how it felt and it doesn't like the way it felt, it's a big deal. If you're triggered by it, that's a big deal. It doesn't,
Yeah.
and I've said it before, it doesn't have to be like off the rails, but every little trigger or trauma is something, and it can go into a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is such an important conversation because what you're breaking down for us today is not just the scenarios, but you're going to really talk about what some of the solutions are.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't think we are aware how often this happens, though. I do
No,
not think we're aware.
it happens all the time. Here's one of the ways that it happens, and we are so clueless. But so, like I said, it happens so fast. You think about it, by the time the smile hits your face from feeling the sense of joy, you've already had the thought, you've already assigned the emotion, and you've already had the feeling. Just that's just how it's so rapid fire that if you're not careful, you'll miss it. It happens so fast, whether it's with a positive emotion or whether it's with a negative emotion. So the other thing that I think is very important is, let's take anger for instance. Anger is going to come in, and you're going to get angry, and you say something angered you from the age of 7 to 10 years old, 15 years old, whatever, and somebody else does something and it triggers your anger, or you just start having a thought. You see an injustice done to some, and it triggers your anger all over again. A lot of people don't even know how to trail that back to find out what the real issue is, but the body is already experiencing it over and over and over again, and the body doesn't like that. It doesn't feel good. So when someone says something and you snap at them, it's your anger. And the first thing we want to say, well, you said something that made me
Yeah.
angry. But the underneath all that is, that's just simply a memory recall from something completely different, not even related to this person that just triggered you. And then that's how lack of communication gets going, and then the relationships start to break down, because what you think is the problem is not at all the problem.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how we miss it every single time.
Yeah. And part of today and the message for today is we don't have to live like that, right?
Nope.
That goes back to what I said to earlier about my mom. Had I knew then what I know now, I may
Yeah.
have been able to do something different. But that's what this is about. That's what you're doing, Tracy. I mean, first of all, you're a premier coach, you're a medical intuitive, you work with people in businesses, you work with people in families. It doesn't matter. You can work with constellations of families, children, schools. All of the schools really need this.
Yeah.
But part of what we're talking about here today is the punchline. We don't have to do that. I don't have to go berserko every time I see a yellow jacket 30 feet away from me.
No. No. You just have to get to the underlying
Mm-hmm.
fear that caused you to, when you, that's what
Mm-hmm.
it really was. It was the fear that caused you to run home. What's going to happen to me? And then every time you see that yellow jacket, it's the fear that's coming back up.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so when you can look at that and, you know, name what's going on, oh, that's just fear.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can get a handle on that emotion, guess what? It's not going to control you anymore. And that truly is what I work with people on a lot. I'm a firm believer if there's something that's going on inside of you, then there's only one way to handle it, and that's to go right through the middle of it. We're not going to go around it. We're not going to bury it. We're not going to pretend like it's not happening. We're
Mm-hmm.
going right through the middle of it. Because if we don't, then it's going to control you. And it's
Yeah.
going to control lots of other areas and aspects of your life, and especially the heart. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what
Yeah.
we're doing.
I mean, to your point, the purchases of alcohol delivered to the home during COVID, those amounts had never been achieved before, period.
Yeah.
But we're talking about why that is. It's not like people woke up one day and said, I'm going to buy a case of vodka. That's not what was going on there. So what you're talking about is what
Covering
was
it up.
going on,
Yeah. I
right?
got to cover this up. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't be alone. I don't want to think about that. So one way that I cannot think about that is to
Yeah.
drug it up, smoke it up, alcohol it up. Yeah, sweep it under the rug, whatever. But the heart knows what's going on, and
Mm-hmm.
the heart just wants to heal. And as we all know, that's one organ we cannot live without. You know, we can have it replaced, but yeah, but it's the heart is very important, and I think it's very important that each person do their own heart healing so that
Yeah.
they can do better in life.
Mm.
And truly, the way to heal your heart is self love, self acceptance. Begin to love others. Accept accept other people for who they are, not for what you want them to be. You know, people don't like to hear this, but you know, when you're talking about the heart, it's all about love. It's that's what the heart is known for, and that is the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that's easy. I'm just saying that is the answer. And that's the hard part for people to accept themselves, to accept other people, to know that they don't have to fix other people, and just let people do their own thing. I want to shift a little bit. I want to talk about the aspects, the MEPS, the mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual aspects of the heart, because there's a lot of things that go on in the heart that I think people are not even aware of. Like, why does the heart get sick? Why does the heart get particular or specific conditions? I'm going to get into that in just a minute. But first, you know, the mental aspect of everything that I look at with my clients, whether we're coaching, whether I'm doing a reading, the mental aspect is always going to be, what story are you telling? So let's talk about the heart. What story are you telling yourself or you're telling others on a mental level? I'm never going to find love. No one loves me. My mom didn't love me. My dad didn't love me. My boyfriend left me because he didn't love me. You know, what story are you telling? Because that's energy, and that will affect the heart. The other aspect is the emotions. What are some of the emotions that actually go through the heart? What is your heart? I'm asking the listeners right now to just stop and listen to your own heart for just a second. Take a look at your own self for just a moment. And what is in your heart? Are you feeling some anger, some hurt, resentment? Are you having some fear, some shame? All that's going through the heart. When you can't connect with people, that's a heart problem. When you can't have empathy for somebody, that's a heart problem. So that's what I'm talking about whenever these emotions. It's okay to feel them. It's okay to have these feelings. It's okay to not understand the feelings. It's just not okay to hang on to them because they don't do you any good. Being angry and frustrated at somebody else does nothing for that other person, but it affects you greatly. So just ask yourself, you know, what am I experiencing right now? Am I experiencing peace, love, joy, happiness? And just saying those words can bring a calmness to the heart. And if you notice, when you say the word anger, fear, frustration, the body is naturally responding to that language. So even just the language doesn't even feel good. And then there's the physical difficulty. And that is like what kinds of actual conditions physically show up in the heart. This is energy blocks. This is what we look for, whether I'm coaching, whether I'm reading, I'm looking for that energy that's blocking someone's heart. And one of the main things, the biggest things, is unforgiveness. When you have unforgiveness in your heart, why does my friend Jesus preach forgiveness all the time? Because he knew that your heart could heal, but you had to do your work. You had to do your forgiveness. And so when we have unforgiveness, it's going to lie in the neighborhood of the heart in the aortic valve area. So if you know anyone that has aortic valve issues, I'm not saying this is their only problem, but I will say talk to them, or do you know them well enough to know, do they have some unforgiveness in their heart? Because it will congregate in that specific area of the heart. And again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, I am not any kind of medical practitioner. I am strictly medical intuitive, but I have seen this many, many, many times, that unforgiveness in the heart, in the backside of the heart.
Yeah.
I want to tell the listeners too about a heart meditation that I have. So if you go to my website, which is www.tracyrfrederick.com or mitracy.com or tracymi.com, it's all the same. If you go to the download section, there is a 16-minute heart meditation that you can get for free. And it's my voice, and I'm going to talk you all the way through and ask you to look at your heart and read your own heart, see what's going on with your own heart. And we're going to go through some of these different aspects and find out what's in there, and then do a little clearing on your heart. It's only 16 minutes long, yours for free. Go and get it, pass it out to your friends, tell everybody. I think that would be very helpful for anybody that wants to work with their own heart.
Let me ask you a question about that, because because I can't wait to do this meditation, but let's say somebody does it and they find themselves at a place where they just want to know more, they want more help. Can't they contact you and do session with
Yes.
you?
Yes, they can. They can, there's several things. Yes, they can contact me. We can do a reading. We can do a coaching session. We can do a healing session. We can go into a deeper heart reading if you want to have just your heart read. But also, we can look at what other areas in your life this is affecting you, because that's really important. Because what happens in the heart is going to happen, and it's like these little branches are going to go out, and it's going to affect all areas of your life. But yeah, absolutely. I can
And
work with
Tracy,
people.
I want to make a pitch for my friends listening to this that are part of the program that I'm part of. I just want to remind you all of one thing that Tracy said. And if you are on the fence and you want to get some help, remember this in the big book. It breaks it down and it tells you resentment is the number one offender, and resentment comes from unforgiveness. And if you are stuck on that and it's holding you from a clean life and a happy life, please, you don't have to sit there. What Tracy is talking about is a complete full circle of how to get the freedom and the joy you deserve. Go ahead, Tracy. Sorry for the
Yeah.
interruption.
Hey, that's perfectly okay. That is perfect. I want people to know that. Another thing that will lie in the heart is betrayal, and this is something that a lot of people have experienced. Like if someone betrays you, well, that we all know what that is. That's pretty easy. We can figure that out. You betrayed my trust. You betrayed my confidence. I believed in you. You cheated. Whatever. That's betrayal. But the other part of betrayal that we have a tendency to not even look at, to not even think twice about, is betrayal of the self.
Oh,
Yeah. And that is so important, because people don't even realize that they're betraying their own self. But I'm going to explain that because I think it's very, very important.
yeah. Yeah.
And can I go ahead and explain that now?
I want to take a short break because
Because this is a
what
big one.
you just said, not only are we not aware of that, but even when we are aware of it, facing ourselves, and I'm telling you,
Yeah, it's the
there's
hardest
so
part.
many teens, children you could be working with right now. But when we face it, we don't face it. We don't want to. We can take a look at a whole lot of other things, right? When the day I broke my arm, But when we're talking about the self, which has to be addressed from where you're talking about, right?
Right.
That's where you need to get some help. Let's take a short break, everybody. When we come back, open up your heart for a minute if you could, because what Tracy is going to share with you is the gateway to freedom and joy. And when the heart is restricted, when it's in pain, that infiltrates every cell in your body. Let's take a short break. And I am not a doctor. I'm just talking from experience. We'll be right back, everybody.
Tired of feeling exhausted as a parent? I would love to help you with a new vision for yourself that is focused on intentional wellness parenting. My name is Aurelie Cormier, and I have over 40 years experience with complex cancer patients. I offer consultations, coaching, and educational programs for parents who want to boost their health and reduce risk of disease, especially cancer. For more information, go to aureliecormier.com.
Hey, everybody. Oh, my goodness. We have got talk radio for all of it.
Really, thank you for blazing the trail for women in talk radio and just being such an inspiration to me and so many other people. What you're doing is so awesome. And, you know, without people like you there to like really step out of the box and go for it, I don't know if someone like me would have ever ended up here, but I'm so happy to be here. And I just want to thank you for everything you're doing. You're one of my major inspirations.
Luvology is where your body remembers what your soul never forgot. I work with men and women who are often at the edge of midlife, who are done with surface level living. People who've built the life but still feel numb, who ache for something deeper, more presence, more truth, more touch. We work with what's been silenced: desire, shame, grief, raw pleasure, and the truths your body has been whispering for years. Using ancient practices, modern science, and yummy, delicious sex tools that awaken rather than perform, we reclaim what it means to feel deeply and live turned on from the inside out. This isn't about fixing.
Welcome back, everybody. You are listening to, first of all, you're listening to the most incredible Tracy R. Frederick. But more than that, this is Healing Perspective with Certified Healing Perspectives with Certified Medical Intuitive Tracy. Now, today, what Tracy is walking us through is one of the most important things that you can change. So I want to say that. Heart wisdom, transforming emotional energy into healing power. And I want to be very clear. Tracy and I are not medical doctors, but we're coming from our experience, from the work we've learned, from what we've known in life. And we're adding the science to it to make you aware that these are things that have been discussed. Now, Tracy, before you help us out here, again, how do we get the meditation?
Okay, it's a free meditation on my website, and that you just go to my website, tracyrfrederick.com or mitracy.com. It's free. There's no charge for it. 16 minutes. And what happens is you're going to listen to this meditation. Some things are going to stir up inside of you. And if you get stuck and you think, okay, I have something I need to deal with, that's when you just click the tab that says contact me, give me a call, and we will go through what is the energy in your heart that's not working, that needs to be cleared up. Whether that's a reading, whether that's just a coaching session, whatever. We're going to clear it up and we're going to get to the bottom of what's going on with you.
Great. Thank you for all that. All right, let's get back to the heart, the big ticker.
Yes, the thing that we can't live without. Well, before the break, we were talking about self-betrayal, because I think that's one thing that's missed very often, that we don't even think about. We can easily identify when we've been betrayed. The hardest thing to identify is whenever we betray ourselves. And one of the ways that we do that is we allow things, we have poor boundaries. That's one way, and I'm going to get into that. So let's say you have a boundary that I'm not going to allow someone to speak to me in a disrespectful way. That could be a coworker, that could be a boss, that could be a partner, spouse, whoever, a child, somebody that you know. You're not going to speak to me in a disrespectful way. But they do it anyway. And when you do not stand up for yourself and say, I'm not tolerating that behavior, you just betrayed yourself. And I want that to land hard with a lot of people. Because how many times, and it's not even just that, that's just one thing. But how many other things that you say that you're going to stand up for yourself, You're not going to do this. It could be something simple like, you know what, I said I'm going to go to the health club and I'm going to work out every day this week because my health is really important to me. But somebody calls you and you say, oh, well, I'm not going to go today. I don't have to go. Or it's raining outside, so that's a really good excuse for me not to go. But what you did is you just betrayed yourself. You just betrayed yourself because you made a commitment to honor yourself and to do something for yourself, but you didn't follow through with it. So self-betrayal happens every day, all the time, and we don't even realize that we're doing it. And the heart doesn't like it. It's like lying to your own self. It doesn't feel good. So that's something that I think people can become more aware of, how we are actually betraying our own selves. And the other part of betrayal is a lot of times we look at betrayal and we say, well, somebody has betrayed my trust. Somebody's betrayed my confidence. But the other part that we don't like to look in the mirror and see is us betraying someone else because we want to justify it. You know, I spoke to so-and-so like that because they deserved it. But, you know, you act, or I did this particular act. I went out and, you know, spoke to somebody I shouldn't have spoken to. I snuck around. I lied. I did this. I did that. That's betraying someone else. So at any given moment, we are either being betrayed by someone else, we are betraying someone else, or we're betraying ourselves. Doesn't matter. They all affect the heart. And that will, and I'll get into the area of the body where that actually affects you. But it's going to be like between your shoulder blades. You know, so you may feel that. The back side, when you feel like, oh, somebody just stabbed me in the back, well, where do you feel that? You feel that right in the upper back. What's opposite of the upper back? The heart. So it makes sense to know that's where you're going to feel it, that betrayal. That's why it's going to come in there. Let's talk about blocked arteries for a second. Lots of people have blocked arteries. Well, what's blocking you from living the life that you want to live? You know, it's the blood flow that has to get to the heart. When the blood's not flowing and it gets a little blocked up and gets a little calcified, it's usually some type of thought. Yes, it's not just the thoughts that's blocking and calcifying. There are things that we eat and things that we do. I get that. But we're talking on an emotional, mental level here. We're not talking about, you know, the stuff that you're putting in your body. That's somebody else can school you on that a whole lot better. I'm talking emotions here. But yeah, what's blocking you from life? So you may get clogged arteries. We talked earlier about lack of self-love. When you care so much more for someone else than you do for your own self, and you keep putting your needs aside, yeah, that's going to hurt the heart. The heart does not like that. It doesn't feel good to the heart. It's saying, well, just ignore the self. You know, you're not important. That's the story that you're creating. I'm not important, but everybody else is much more important than me. The heart does not like that. It doesn't feel good to the heart. And think about that. If you're constantly doing for someone else all the time, you probably are complaining to some degree because you know you're doing way too much. And all it is your heart saying, stop doing that, stop doing that. But we don't want to stop and listen to what the heart is actually trying to tell us. We just want to graze on over that, or I'm going to do it later. Well, later is too late sometimes.
Yeah. And you know, just to your point, I want to be very clear to people. Science now, and you could look this up yourself, but the National Institute of Health and the Harvard Health blogs, but Science Now at heart.org will tell you that science now confirms a direct bidirectional link between emotional states and blocked arteries.
Yeah.
So this is where Tracy is bringing in that scientific information. So you're more aware. This isn't just, well, I think I'm having an emotional moment. No, you're impacting your body. And now the science, the articles, and the research support that exact thing you just talked about with arteries.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely. Everything affects the body, everything. And, you know, again, I think it's coming in through the heart. If you have difficulty giving love to someone, of course, we know that's simple. We know that. But if you have trouble receiving love, so for instance, this is a really good example. Suppose something happened to you in childhood, and It's the mother, it's the father, it doesn't matter which one. And years go by, and you just can't seem to forgive them for what's taken place, for what's happened. But then at some point, the parent gets older and they want to be more loving and more kind to you. But you can't receive that love because you haven't been able to do the forgiveness work. If you can't forgive, then you are not going to be able to open your heart completely up to receive the love from that other person, because you have that block up. That block says, oh no, you did this to me and I can't forgive you. So your heart cannot open up enough to receive that love. That's a problem. That's a problem for the heart. And whenever you don't allow yourself to be loved by someone else, or you have restrictions on how much you love someone else, that's a heart problem. That's a heart problem waiting to manifest. Because the heart is made to love. The heart is made to give love. It's made to receive love. And if it doesn't do enough of it, it's going to hurt. And it's going to break down. It's going to calcify. It's going to get hardening of the arteries. All these things are going to happen because you're just blocked up. So that's a big one. I think that's a really big one.
It's a big one. And by the way, it shows up in pretty much every spiritual practice that's out there, every conversation about Jesus, for one, but it shows up out there. And what you're doing is you're connecting both spirituality, cognitive ability, the mind,
Absolutely.
the body, the physical aspect, and the emotional aspect.
Yeah.
And the bottom line message to this is these are things we could get some help and do something about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And bypass, how many people have either had a heart bypass surgery or they know someone that has? Bypass is simple. If you listen to the words and the description, you can probably figure this out. When you try to bypass the feelings and the emotions that are coming into the heart, and you shove them underneath the rug, you sweep them under, and you don't want to deal with them, then the heart is trying to bypass. It will literally, the veins, they're going to try to find another way. They're going to try to find another way to get that blood to the heart. But when it runs out of options, then the heart has no choice but to eventually attack itself.
Yeah.
Because it's all blocked up. And I have seen that. I've seen it. It's not nice.
No.
But this is so common. These are common things that people can start to understand about themselves and say, you know what is really blocking my heart? Go get that. Go do that heart meditation. Go figure it out. See what comes up for you. And then, of course, there's some lung conditions in there that's in with the heart. The lungs are nestled in with the heart, and they go hand in hand. So when you have brokenheartedness, of course, that's going to affect the heart. A loss of a loved one is going to affect the heart. You can't breathe, but your heart is just so broken in many, many pieces. And when the heart can't recoup or recover from that broken heartedness, I mean, the physical heart will start to break down and cause some heart conditions there. There's also high blood pressure. Lots of people have high blood pressure. And this is, every time I hear someone that has high blood pressure, this is where my thought goes, oh, that person has got to be a people pleaser on some level. Think about that. So, it's about stress. Of course, that's what causes high blood pressure. You're under some type of stress. But, and you also have a deep sensitivity to the needs of other people, and you put those needs of those other people first instead of putting yourself first. So, for instance, it's all this stuff that's going on internally, the mind chatter, the emotions. I've got to work. I've got to get my kids here. I've got to take care of my aging parents. I need to set up a vacation. Everybody wants to go in a different direction for vacation, but this is supposed to be a family vacation. How are we going to pull this off? You get so stressed out that you don't even want to go on vacation. But you'll get some high blood pressure over that. It's stress because I want everybody to be happy. Everybody but myself, because everybody's more important than me.
Yeah. And I think that right there is, let's just mention one thing about it. That is one of those things, by the way, that goes on even at the subconscious level, to the point where we do not even know we're doing it.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. And it happens everywhere. It's like the boss that says, could you work an extra hour tonight? And in order to do that, somebody got to pick up the kids. Then you got to do this. But you say, yeah, of course I will. Really?
Yeah, because I want my
We do
boss
it.
to be happy. I want to keep this job and I want to raise. See how those thoughts just go on and on and on and on. And then the mind is just creating this whole story of what ifs. And then that's when the anxiety is going to kick in. And the body just can't handle all that, cannot handle all that stress. I think it's also worth mentioning some of the other parts of the body that are affected by the heart. So, for people that know about the heart chakra, this comes in the heart chakra area. That heart chakra also encompasses like your esophagus, your shoulders, the thymus gland, the upper back, T2 through 7. That's where we talked about the betrayal. But T2 through 7, anyone that's having some issues in that part of their spine, yeah, go look at. It's actually something that's probably stemming from your heart. Something to think about there.
And then we think it's a neck ache.
Yeah.
Or we think, yeah, with it like, my neck hurts. But we're not putting it together.
No.
That if you trace back situations, event that happen, and then the series of conditions that are started to show up, it puts the pieces in the puzzle.
It absolutely does. It's going to connect the dots. It's going to make that picture perfect scenario come to your mind. That's exactly how it happens. Yeah. So that's a lot of what's going on in the body. And on a spiritual aspect, again, it's about self-love. It's about loving all things. It's about the love of God, your creator, your source, whatever you want to call it. But here's a big thing that's also held in the heart that is a spiritual aspect, and that's your passion. If you have a passion to do something and you're not doing it, your heart is going to hurt. Your heart is going to not feel good at all. So what is it that you want to go back and do, or what is it that you knew that you want to try? You've always had a love for art, but you didn't really want to do it, or you didn't think you could do it. You told yourself the story but you couldn't do it. If that's a passion for you, then you don't have to go be a famous artist. Just get something down on paper, release that passion. If it's speaking about a particular topic or a cause, go for it. Go take care of it. If that draws that much passion to you, that passion has to be expressed and it has to be released through the heart. So that's something else to think about.
Tracy, we got a message that just came in here, and the question is, thank you for today. I'm going to have to go back. I'm going to go back and listen to the conversation between the heart and the lungs, but can you comment on the right shoulder? Did you mention the right shoulder? Was that what you were talking about? Because they're asking, what about the right shoulder?
Well, the right shoulder is in our past episode, we talked about the right and left side of the body. The right side of the body, I know it's backwards what you're looking at, but this is my right side. So anything that has to do with the right side, whether it's the shoulder, because you have two of them, that has to do with something that's going on in the present moment, or that's more recent. And the shoulder is about weight and burdens that we're carrying. Your heart carries burdens. What is burdening your heart? What is it that you're carrying that you feel like you just can't carry anymore? Because, you think about, what do we use the shoulders for? It's to lift. What is it that your shoulder just is tired? So I would say that to the listener that asked that. What is it in reference that your heart says, I can't do this anymore? It's more of a current situation. It could also possibly do with a male in your life, because again, the right side has to do with excess male energy. Sometimes we have issues with another male in our life. It's going to show up on the right side of the body. So I would have the listener listen to this again and ask some of these questions and see if they can kind of narrow it down for themselves. And if you can't, give me a call. That's what I'm here for.
And
I'll
get
help
the
you narrow it down.
meditation.
Get the meditation, do the meditation, give me a call, send me an email. I'll be happy to work with you to really narrow that down a little bit more.
One of the things that we're also talking about is, and this is really what I started out with about the yellow jacket. It's one thing to be aware of it, but then once you're aware of something, most people don't know, what do I do now? What do I
Yeah.
do now? But
Yeah.
that's the work that you do to help people, because I mean, you don't have any yellow jackets in the room, but you're having an experience, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so being aware of that is one thing, but being able to stop that and experience freedom and joy, that's the goal, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's the goal. It's to get off the hamster wheel. And so, one of the ways that you can do that, one of the ways that you can help to heal your heart and other parts of your body as far as that goes, but do this exercise again. Go listen to the heart meditation. But since I say it all the time, sit with your heart, but sit inside of your heart. Go deep into your heart and be honest with yourself and take a look in there and say, what is going on with me? What am I feeling in my heart? What am I not feeling in my heart? What am I pushing aside? And list it if you have to. Put it down on paper. What is it? Am I feeling sadness? Am I feeling some grief in there? Do I have a lack of love for someone, or do I feel like someone doesn't love me? Start listing all these things out so that you can take a look at them, or call me and I'll look at them with you. But that's one thing that you can do for yourself, is let the heart give you the message that it needs to give you. And again, sit with your body and just feel it. Just feel it. I said it before, emotions are meant to be felt. They're not meant to be kept and hung on to. But if you don't feel them, then you're not going to recognize them when they come up. So just be aware of what it feels like to be sad. What does it feel like to be angry? What does it feel like to be empathetic? What does it feel like to have compassion? And when you have those higher vibrational feelings, that's how the body heals itself. It doesn't heal itself from having the low vibrational feelings. The healing takes place when you can say, oh, that's why I'm feeling this. And then just let that go. Just let it go. And you can also change the story. Change the story. The show is called Healing Perspectives for a reason. My goal is to get you to change your perspective on every situation that comes into your life, every person that comes into your life. Look at people from a different perspective. Look at situations from a different perspective, and know that people say what they say and do what they do because of where they are. But it doesn't mean you have to go be there with them.
Yeah.
You don't have to
Yeah.
go there and be in that misery with them. Change the story.
Yeah, one of the greatest misconceptions is, and we have demonstrated this in research, because when we research some of the things you're talking about, it's always about perspective. And the challenge comes when people say things like, but that's not reality. Oh, absolutely is reality for that person. That's that person's reality, right?
Yeah.
Seeing the yellow jacket, yeah. Maybe it's 30 feet away, but perhaps on any given day, that 30 feet is not far enough. So we have to honor that perspectives represent a full body experience for people.
Absolutely. It does. It definitely does. Another thing, that if you want to do some heart healing for yourself, wear the color green. Wear the color green. That's the color of the heart chakra. And when you wear green, it automatically will kind of raise your vibration a little bit. Think the color green, drink a green drink some green juice, whatever. Anything to do with the color green. Just, sit and meditate on the color green. That's a good way to give yourself a heart healing, is to just do something along that line. You had mentioned earlier about the Dutton Ranch. Do we have time to get into the Dutton Ranch?
I want to tell you, because I was thinking about you. We were watching a Dutton Ranch, and it was going along really well until the end. And the main character, spoiler alert, everybody, the main character had gone through pains to restructure, to really take her adopted son and really turn the ranch over, until the bad son showed up. And in like 5 minutes, the entire energy changed, and she caved into that. And then the ultimate level of betrayal was when someone took down a steer head that was on her wall that meant very much. And you watch the episode and the look on her face, and the main character is Beulah, and you watch in seconds the destruction of her energy, of her shock, of what was going on, betrayal left and right by the character. I mean, this happened in like the last minutes. And then she had a stroke.
Yeah.
That's
And
how the episode ended.
Yeah.
But to your point, now, I don't think that the thing with the bad son was a moment by moment. This child had disappointed her over and over and over again. But when you couple that with the granddaughter and the things that just shocked her, I mean, you could see it. And
Yeah.
you went from a very confident woman at the beginning of the episode, right? Everything
Mm-hmm.
going in her favor. One event triggered the reality of many. And how fitting to this episode.
Yeah.
They didn't have to end that with her having a stroke. And I mean, I'm assuming that was a stroke because it looked like it to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah.
And there she is on the ground, immobilized, cannot talk.
Yeah. Her heart cannot
And
take anymore.
and so there we go. That was to me, knowing we were going to talk about it today, I just thought that is a perfect demonstration of what you just talked about.
Yeah, it definitely is. And how many people are going to watch that show and relate to it? If you watch that show, or you just with Dr. Pat describing that, and if your body has a recall, you're already feeling it. You don't even have to watch the show. You're feeling it already. You're feeling that betrayal. You're feeling that disappointment from whether it's a child or whether it's a parent or whether it's a sibling or whatever. You're feeling those feelings all over again just by listening to the story. Your body is already talking to you about what you need to do. So I'm asking you to pay attention to that.
Yeah. And you know what the point was, Tracy, what I loved about this and how it ties into what you're saying. The entire beginning part of the show took you on a real upbeat, positive journey on so many different perspectives until it didn't.
Yeah.
And one event turned into a snowball.
Yeah.
And there was one thing, what did they say? The straw that, I don't even understand this,
Straw that
but
broke
the
the
straw
camel's
that
back.
broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
And you watched it play out real time.
Yeah.
And that level of heartbreak shown on the screen physically, that was the only way to demonstrate that. Otherwise, I don't think anybody would have gotten it.
Yeah, and a lot of times what ends up happening after that, so someone will go on to have an event like this, a health event like this, and there's a good chance that they will start to turn their life around in a different way because they know on an unconscious level that what took place, why it took place, how it happened, and what I need to do about it.
Yeah.
My hope is that people don't get to that point to where that this is what we're trying to help with today is start noticing all these things now so that you don't end up in that situation later down the line.
I started the show out talking about my mom and the fact that had I known then what I know now, I don't know if I could have changed the events, but I would have known how to handle it differently, right?
Yeah.
Because I look back at what she was going through in her life. I look back at losing everything in Hurricane Andrew and then trying to rebuild it. I look back at, the disappointments of, my siblings, right? I look back at that. And when you put them all together, right?
Mm-hmm.
I now know that my last conversation with her might have been different. I might not have stopped it, but my conversation might have been different.
Yeah.
And that's why your show today is so important, because the conversations we have, being able to see this in the people we love and to see it in ourselves, that's going to change the game.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's all cultivate a little bit more compassion for what everybody's going through too.
Amen to that.
Tracy,
one more time, tell us about the meditation again,
okay.
and again, how people can get it and also how they can work with you.
Okay. TracyRFrederick.com or mitracy.com. That's going to get you where you need to go. Go to the homepage and you can contact me from there. I work with people that have these issues with whether it's with their heart, whether it's with other body parts, whether it's with the anxiety, the incessant thoughts, whatever we need to do to clear that energy, we're going to do it. Go to the website, go to the download section. There's a free download section. Lots of things you can download, one of them being the 16-minute heart meditation. I'm going to talk you through it and go discover what's going on with your heart. You want to talk about it? Give me a call. TracyRFrederick.com. You can reach me. 15-minute free consultation if you want to do that. We can do that as well. So I'm here. I'm here for everybody. Let's help you heal your heart and be much kinder to yourself and much more loving to yourself and to the world.
Tracy, thank you so much for today. And you and I touched upon this. For those of you out there, go look up your own research, do your own statistics, just like we did, the articles we mentioned, the science behind it. But more importantly, do the research on yourself.
Absolutely.
And then give yourself a gift. The gift is, I do not have to continue this way.
Heal yourself.
Reach out for help. Tracy, thank you for everything today.
Thank you. Change the way you think and you'll change the way you live.
That's right.
Thank you,
and
Dr.
for
Pat.
those of you, this is awesome. Thank you. For those of you out there, we touched the surface on purpose because this is the kind of thing you have to go a bit deeper, get a hold of Tracy.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank
Emily.
you, everybody.
Thank you all. We'll see you next time.
All righty. Thank you for tuning in to the Healing Perspectives podcast with me, Certified Medical Intuitive Tracy Frederick. I want to invite you to join me every second and fourth Monday on ttrnetwork.com and become part of something bigger. Send healing love to yourself and to others. Think about how you can heal and then take action. And when you do, tell someone so they can heal too. Let's create a ripple effect of healing all over the world. If you'd like my personal guidance, visit my website at mitracy.com.